Bangladesh has entered one of its darkest and most volatile chapters. The International Crimes Tribunal in Dhaka has sentenced deposed Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina to death for alleged crimes against humanity related to last year's student protests. Tried in absentia from exile in New Delhi, Hasina has called the verdict preordained and politically motivated. But beyond the courtroom, a far more troubling picture is emerging. The return of Islamist extremism, the weakening of state institutions, and the growing footprint of Pakistan-backed networks inside Bangladesh. As the interim government stumbles, Dhaka today stands at the crossroads of democracy and destabilisation.
More specifically, আশুলিয়াতে 6 জনকে হত্যা করে পুড়িয়ে দেয়া, চানখারপুলে 6 জনকে হত্যা করার মাধ্যমে যে অপরাধ করেছেন সেটার দায়ে তাকে দোষী সাব্যস্ত করে মৃত্যুদণ্ড প্রদান করেছেন।
Former Bangladeshi Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, the architect of the country's economic rise and a bulwark against terrorism, was sentenced to death by the International Crimes Tribunal in Dhaka. The judges ruled that Hasina ordered lethal force on student protesters, including close-range shootings at Dhaka University. Hasina was convicted on 3 charges: incitement to violence, ordering killings, and failing to prevent atrocities. The case relied heavily on a former police chief who turned state witness after her ouster. Hasina refused to return from India, calling the proceedings illegitimate, and today Dhaka remains under lockdown, armoured vehicles, city-wide checkpoints, and half of the capital's police force deployed. Inside the packed courtroom, the ruling was delivered in stark language.
It is hereby ordered that accused Sheikh Hasina be found guilty on 3 counts under charge 1. Count number 1, incitement. Count number 2, order to kill. Count number 3, inaction to prevent the atrocities and failing to take punitive actions against the perpetrators. For all these 3 counts, we have decided to inflict her with only one sentence, that is sentence of death.
The verdict sends shockwaves across Bangladesh, but also raises serious questions about political neutrality, procedural fairness, and the motives behind the trial. The roots of this crisis lie in the violent student uprising of 2024, triggered by the High Court's reinstatement of a controversial quota system in government jobs. Clashes between anti-quota demonstrators and activists from Hasina's Awami League spiraled into a nationwide violence. A UN report estimated 1,400 deaths, though Hasina has repeatedly demanded an independent investigation disputing the numbers. The Awami League government fell on 5th August 2024, forcing Hasina to flee to India. But what followed was even more unprecedented. Within weeks of Hasina's ouster, the interim government began a systematic campaign to erase the political legacy of the Awami League, the party that delivered Bangladesh's liberation in 1971. Hasina's father, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman's statue was pulled down. His historic residence turned museum was burnt. The Awami League was banned. Minorities aligned with the party were subjected to targeted violence. And into this vacuum stepped Bangladesh's Islamist hardliners, Hifazat-e-Islam, Jamaat-e-Islami, and smaller extremist-linked networks. Groups that had been heavily suppressed under Hasina's 17 years in power are once again asserting themselves. Regional analysts warn that Bangladesh today resembles the pre-2000s environment, when extremist movements thrived under state indifference.
I think the verdict is part of the political vendetta that has been organized and has been going on against Sheikh Hasina and the Awami League. So it is a continuation of that process. As you know, the judiciary has been weaponized there with former judges, and many judges have been removed, and the interim government has put in their own people there. So nobody is surprised by this verdict. And I think it means that now the Awami League has to decide whether they will carry on the struggle or they keep quiet, which I doubt very much. I think the struggle will go on.
This is a dramatic warning, but one that matches the pattern emerging on the ground. Pakistan-backed networks that were once dismantled by Hasina are resurfacing with alarming speed. Even Indian intelligence sources have flagged a Bangladesh linkage in the recent Delhi terror blast, a development unthinkable under Hasina's counter-terror regime.
There is a very strong belief that Hasina, the agitation conducted against Hasina, was also had a foreign hand in it, or in different ways, and because a decision was taken somewhere that she's not cooperating in with that country, which wanted certain facilities there in Bangladesh, etc. These are all in the media already, and these have been discussed, and so these things are also there. And we have seen the interim government moving very close to Pakistan, and there's a lot of ISI, traveling, Pakistani generals and others traveling to Dhaka. During the bomb blasts in Delhi, for example, I just read somewhere that they have also unearthed a Dhaka connection. Now that could very much be the LET, which has gone there and started operating from there, or the Jaish or whoever. Because this is what Pakistan would aim for.
As the interim administration led by Muhammad Yunus governs with little electoral legitimacy, ordinary Bangladeshis say the country has plunged into instability.
Last 17 years, when Sheikh Hasina was the Prime Minister, the country has been improved by the developed by the economy, structure, all those. शेख हसीना की टाइम में जो हुआ था, जो बांग्लादेश अभी पीपल बोल रहे हैं आगे भालो छिलाम. It's been our previous time was more better. We have been fooded, we have been eat, we have been sleeping. There is a democracy, peaceful life. So अभी जो यूनुस की गवर्नमेंट की जो टाइम जा रहा है, ये इतना लोग अभी इतना सफर कर रहा है कि यूनुस की ये शोषण बना रहा है. बांग्लादेश में एक शोषण हो रहा है, एक डेजर्ट, एक मरुभूमि चल रहा है. बांग्लादेश की लोग अभी रो रहा है शेख हसीना के लिए कि एक जिंदगी कैसे था, अभी क्या बुरी जिंदगी हो गया. ये इंटरनेशनली भी इतना फोकसिंग हो जाएगा कि यूनुस की नोबेल भी जाने वाला. यूनुस की जो नोबेल मिला है, जो खरीद कर वो भी जाने वाला. यूनुस की हालत इन फ्यूचर में सबसे बुरी हालत होगा इन फ्यूचर में बांग्लादेश में.
From rising food prices to collapsing law and order, Bangladesh today is struggling with a governance crisis that many blame directly on the interim administration. With elections due in early 2026, Bangladesh stands at a dangerous crossroads. The death sentence risks igniting massive street unrest. Islamist groups are regaining political space. Pakistan-linked networks are rebuilding quietly. Minorities fear renewed communal violence. State institutions, police, judiciary, administration appear deeply politicized. Security analysts warn that if this political vacuum persists, Bangladesh risks being overtaken by extremist actors, reversing much of the stability and progress built up over the past 2 decades.